A bitter New York wind slams the door of a Greenwich Village coffeehouse in early 1962. You grip a flimsy paper cup. The heat fogs your glasses. Cinnamon pricks your nose. Across the cramped room, a lanky kid in a rumpled corduroy jacket hunks over a spiral notebook, tongue caught between his teeth. He hums the skeleton of an old spiritual, "No More Auction Block," and his pencil races. 9 stark questions spill out before your coffee cools.
Then one day my brother failed to come home, the same as my father before him.
10 minutes, maybe less. He looks up, half smiles, and pockets the page. That scrap will soundtrack marches, top charts, earn a Nobel quote. So, if one sip of coffee can move history, what could your next 10 minutes spark? Greenwich Village rents are dirt cheap, but the stakes feel sky high. Basements like the Gaslight Cafe and Gerda's Folk City trade-free espresso for stage time. Music runs past midnight, and hecklers are ruthless. New arrival Bob Dylan studies veterans, Pete Seeger hammering a banjo, Odetta shaking rafters, then races home to raid Woody Guthrie tunes. By autumn 62, he's cutting live tapes at the Gaslight, his sandpaper rasp daring the room to hush. One April evening, Dylan ducks into Gerda's between sets. The spiritual still loops in his head. He scratches, "How many roads?" The bartender later swears it takes less time than brewing a fresh pot. 4 nights later, Monday Hootenanny. Dylan mumbles, "This ain't no protest song," then strums the fledgling verses. When the chorus hits, the clink of cups dies. A lone whistle breaks the silence. Within a week, Broadside Magazine prints the lyric, and copies ricochet from table to table. Friends tease that Dylan finished the tune faster than they can tune their guitars. He shrugs. It just came. The melody is borrowed, the handwriting messy, but the mood is electric. Outside, civil rights sit-ins roil the South. Cold War headlines fill the papers, and the village aches for a rallying cry. Blowin' in the Wind feels like both riddle and answer, inviting anyone with a pulse to sing along. Stakes fixed. A 20-year-old, 3 verses, and a grenade made of questions. Will a jot-on cafe napkin stand the glare of studio lights? And the roar of history? July 9th, 1962. Dylan strides into Columbia Studio A, boots still dusty from village floors. Tube amps throb. Producer John Hammond asks for a run-through. Dylan skips the headphones, straps on a harmonica rack, and rolls tape. 2 takes. 2 minutes, 48 seconds. Capture the fragile rasp we know. Columbia shelves the master. Dylan hustles back downtown, guitar case full of uncashed potential. Months crawl. Dylan survives on tip jar coins while executives doubt that raw voice. Manager Albert Grossman makes a sideways move. He hands an acetate to his polished trio Peter, Paul, and Mary. Their honeyed harmonies soften Dylan's edge. Released June 1963, the single rockets to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 by mid-August. Columbia panics in a good way and rushes the freewheelin' Bob Dylan out on May 27, 1963 with Blowin' planted at track 1. America is a tinderbox. Sit-ins sweep the South. Nightly news loops dogs and hoses. The refrain, the answer, is blowin' in the wind. Blasts from transistor radios and dorm stereos. Church choirs fold the song into Sunday programs. A folk tune morphs into moral yardstick almost overnight. August 28, 1963. 250,000 marchers flood Washington, D.C. Placards rise like cardboard prayer flags. Before Dr. King's I Have a Dream, Peter, Paul, and Mary strum Dylan's questions. Voices swell into a single human organ. For 3 minutes, the wind feels solid, almost graspable. Backstage, Dylan stares. Stunned, his 10-minute scribble now binds 250,000 strangers. Southern stations yank the record. Columnists sneer that folks should stay apolitical. Controversy backfires. Sales climb. By December, Dylan headlines Carnegie Hall. Success breeds new conflict. How do you top a song the whole world sings? He writes faster, wilder. A hard rain. The times they are a-changin', yet the wind song looms, half shadow, half shield, covers multiply. Stevie Wonder injects a Motown backbeat. The 16-year-old drives the single to #1 on the R&B chart and #9 pop in 1966. Marlene Dietrich murmurs a German version, Die Antwoord Weiss Guns Aligned or Wind, in 64's clubs. Folk, reggae, bluegrass, punk. Every accent recolors the questions, same punch. Listeners who never set foot in Greenwich still feel the sting.
Come and gather round, friends, and I'll tell you a tale of where the red iron ore pits run aplenty.
Confrontation ends with a paradox. The song spans continents, yet its questions stay unanswered. Wars start, protests rage. The wind keeps moving, answers fluttering just beyond reach. Decades race by. In 1994, the Grammy Hall of Fame inducts Dylan's single. Rolling Stone's 2021 reboot of the 500 Greatest Songs still plants it at number 100, proof that shifting fashions can't muffle those questions. December 10, 2016, Oslo. Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos ends his Nobel Peace speech by quoting verse 2, "How many deaths will it take to frame a fragile ceasefire?" Weeks later, the Swedish Academy shocks literary circles, awarding Bob Dylan the Nobel Prize in Literature for creating new poetic expressions.
Giving the prestigious award to Dylan is a bit of a shocker because it's usually reserved for
September 20th, 2019, Berlin climate strike. Teenagers chant Dylan's chorus beneath neon, Fridays for Future signs, linking 60s civil rights songs to climate pleas. The bridge between eras clicks into place. Same 9 questions, new crisis. Spring 2025. A TikTok busker films himself belting the tune on a rain-slick sidewalk. 3 million views bloom in a weekend under hashtag #WIND2025. Countless creators duet, add harmonies, remix beats, proof that an analog melody can thrive in algorithm land. Musically, 3 chords any guitarist can strum before the kettle whistles. Lyrically, 0 dated references. Dylan never names a war or president. He simply asks. That blank space lets every era project its own fight. Selma, Saigon, Siberian wildfires. The refrain promises the answer is in the wind. Felt, but not yet seized. Tension between nearness and absence fuels the song's endurance, especially when truth feels scarce. Gold plaques pile up, but the song's real currency is reuse. A TikTok teen cares little for Grammy brass. A Berlin marcher may not know the Nobel lecture. What they feel is the emotional math. 9 questions plus no fixed answers equals room to roar. Each generation rewrites the code. Remember, the creative burst that launched all of this lasted about as long as warming cold fingers around a coffee cup. Honors prove a point, but protests prove a stronger one. Urgency beats polish. Honesty outruns perfection. So, inhale. The kettle sings, the bus is 5 stops away. A voice note app glows on your phone. What raw line, riff, or sketch could you let spill in the next 10 minutes? And where might it blow? It might never reach Carnegie Hall or Nobel podiums, yet it could spark one friend, one feed, one street corner. Wins start small. A notebook page, a borrowed melody, a burst of feeling. That's all it took last time. The rest of the answers are still blowing out there, waiting for somebody, maybe you, to catch them. If this story stirred something in you, let the wind keep moving. Tap like, hit subscribe, and share this video with the friend who needs a 10-minute spark today. Then tell us in the comments, what anthem could you write before your coffee turns cold?